Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17A podcast, proudly sponsored by ACDMB. ACDMB are a branding and creative design agency based in Farsley, Leeds. They create standout brands. So if any companies are out there wanting a brand refresh, a new logo, anything of that ilk, just get in touch with ACDMB. Thanks to Chris and the team at ACDMB for sponsoring us. This is a very special edition of the Lot Pod. Again, I'm proud to say we do have a special guest. Joining me for this one is, of course, Statman Reese. How are you, Reese?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah. And our special guest on this special edition of the Lot Pod is Leeds Rhinos Commercial Director, Rob Oates. How are you, Rob?
Good evening. Yeah, I'm sound. Absolutely fine. Thank you. Thanks for
sparing some time for us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely fine. No problems whatsoever.
So I think we should start, Rob, by pretty much you telling us, how did you get one of the best jobs in the world?
A lot of people say that, and I honestly believe that is true.
Yeah.
So I worked for Tetley's, and it was 2002, and just got a call. I got to know Gary and Paul Caddick, a little bit of Dave Howes, who was there at the time, and because we were the sponsors, we were the shirt sponsors.
Yeah.
Right, and no one at Tetley's were interested in it other than me. So I was like all over it. So we went to Wembley with Graham Murray and the gang. I was representing Tetley's, which was crazy. Got to know everyone, and then they just out of the blue just said, "Look, do you fancy coming out, heading up the commercial side of things?" And I was happy in my role at Carlsberg Tetley, as it was then called. And but again, it was just too big an opportunity. You know, you just think, what if? And it turns out, and yeah. And, so we joined in early 2003.
Are you a Leeds fan, Rob? Were you a Leeds fan at the time? Are you a fan now, or you've been converted?
So I'm 51, and I've been a season ticket holder since I was 3. So I played football. I wasn't hard enough to play rugby. I played a bit of rugby, but wasn't hard. It was tough, and it is tough, innit? I played footy all my life, and I just love all sports. Played footy and tennis and a bit of running, but Leeds Rhinos were always my team, and if it ever clashed with a game of footy that when I was playing, I'd always go watch Leeds, and just loved it all my life. All my family, mum and dad, and all my aunties and uncles, they all watch it, and my sisters are both into it. My children are massive fans, and it's our life, and it's become more of our life, and certainly more of my life since I joined the club.
So, what's your kind of day-to-day then at the club, just to kind of give us a bit of a...
So just to develop revenue, so anything with a revenue attached to it, so that's sponsorship's the biggest, and then obviously membership and ticketing, that all does fall under me. I've got a fantastic team. We've got a great management team at the Rhinos. They've been there a long time, and Matt Adams heads up the marketing, and Sean Jones heads up the customer experience. We work really closely with them, about developing, fair and reasonable, and coming up with offers and ideas. And then the retail falls under me, and then the non-sport falls all under me. So like all the weddings and bits and bats, that all falls under me as well. So it's anything with a revenue attached to it comes to me. I'm nothing directly to do with the rugby department, so I have no say whatsoever. So
is that you telling us we can't ask you questions about signings for the summer next year? Sorry,
you can ask all you want. So
we can ask, yeah.
Your own view on that. So yeah.
In terms of the kits, then, do you have anything? Do the club have much involvement in terms of the design of kits and?
Yeah. And people, whenever we bring out a kit, everyone's like, oh, Oxen aren't this or these aren't that, and before them ISC aren't very ingenious, and it's just same old. It's difficult coming up with new ideas. It really is difficult. I believe our current kit manufacturer, Oxen, Elite Pro Sport, but with their Oxen brand, I think they're the best. They look after our retail operation. They go to bed thinking about our retail operation, but we have a lot of control of it still. Lee Jenkinson is their CEO, and Shane Miller owns it, and they're just two top blokes who you wouldn't wish to work with anyone else. but coming up with different ideas and things, you know, I can see in Rob Burrows, you know, magic shirt, things like that. They're fabulous at, and you know, one or two other things, you know, from previous, you know, it doesn't always go down and hit everyone's spot, but they're great people and a great organisation to deal with.
You could see this shirt everywhere on Sunday. If you look at some of the behind the scenes video on YouTube, you look at the South Stand, you can see this shirt absolutely everywhere. But the actual launch of the shirt was brilliant, I thought, this year. Obviously, everything with Rob and everything is fantastic, but I thought this launch was really special. About the kits then, do you take success rate into your kit strategy? Because we're going to have to mention the pink kit, and we've been going on about the pink kit.
Performance
podcast this year. So for next season, are we thinking of a strategy of going, right, if the pink kit is that successful, we're going to have another pink kit next year? I mean, personally, I don't like the kit, but if we're winning it every week, I don't really care. Maybe we should have won it to lose, but that's the only game we've lost in it. So I know it's a bit of a joke, but consider it.
We don't. I mean, what we'd go on and what Oxen would go on is the saleability of it rather than the performance of it. It's certainly one that's raised, you know, it's been raised quite a bit. What I would say about the pink, that we first did pink, I think we're back in 2013 for John Huckums, and like that navy and iconic, it was our band, but it was pink, and it was in conjunction with Cancer Research UK because John had sadly passed, and the reason why we did it was firmly attached to John and the story, and we articulated that, and this is almost a legacy of that still, the pink, which is good, isn't it? And every time I see us playing it, I think of that, I think of John, and I think that's the link. And yeah, it's great that we're winning in it. We're winning in any colour at the minute, aren't we?
Yeah. Which shirt has sold the most this year, Rob? Do you know?
The home shirt's always a bigger seller.
Yeah.
The home shirt is they always sells more. So yeah, I ain't got the exact numbers, but the home shirt would be right up there, and then it'd be close between pink, Rob's, and then the grey.
I think the longer, because obviously the Rob shirt like you mentioned there only came out at Magic Weekend. I think the longer that's on sale, like Reece said on Sunday, the Rob shirt was everywhere. It was more prominent than the home shirt. In Southstand where I was, absolute massive. It
stands out so well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Is that have the club kind of thought about releasing a Rob shirt inspired shirt every year, or has that been discussed yet as an idea?
It's a moving feast. It's on the table.
Yeah.
There'll be something. Yeah, there'll be, you know, whether that's Rob related or Rob linked. You know, I'm not quite sure yet, but there's the plans about how and what 2023 obviously looks like. Yeah,
and as the 2020, just the last one on kits, has the 2023 kits, are they all decided now? Do you know what we're wearing next year?
Yeah, it's signed off so far in advance that
you
know that's a tricky one for sponsors because you've got to make sure it's almost before a ball's kicked this year, you're signing off kit for next.
Yeah.
So you're almost working. It's certainly 10 months ahead of yourself. So we typically sign kit off April.
Well, and it's not coming across on a boat, is it? Because I've only, if you heard of Legion United's kit, the apparently solvents ended up at the bottom of the ocean.
Well, every single football club was struggling, weren't they? Yeah. The Oxen did have some kit that got caught in that Suez Canal thing, you know, when that all got clogged up. But fingers crossed all that stuff settles down.
Just on to tickets and ticket sales. I'm not sure how involved you are on that, but Legion United again recently they've kind of switched to a digital season ticket instead of having a season ticket card. Is that something the club do they have that at the club, the possibility to have a digital season ticket on people's phones?
Well, we've got print at home.
Yeah.
You know, I believe I've got a load of mates who are Mighty Whites fans, and they're just moaning about that because if there's 6 of them going and 2 can't, they shuffle it to a couple of mates and get someone. You know, and hey, that's what that stops. It's just in your your specific device, isn't it? So, which is, yeah, if that's the way, that's the way. I don't think we're not in a position to go down quite that route. What we're trying to do is cover all bases. Corporately, it's an email, it's an e-zine ticket, it's just sent out. But equally, if someone said, if Leeds Building Society said, well, I want 10 cards for my tickets, you can have 10 cards.
You can have them.
Yeah, you can have them. You know what I mean? It's not going to be a barrier to a sale. So we're just trying to cover all bases at the minute. Who knows where technology takes us going forward? Like my mum and dad still go, and they ain't got a phone. So what do they do?
What would they do in that situation?
Yeah. So there's still an element of that going through. But again, who knows? What might transpire in the future.
Talking of ticket sales and COVID, how did everyone I spoke to that at the height of COVID and when the club were kind of saying for season ticket holders to donate their money, everyone I know that has a season ticket all donated their money directly to the club. How did the club deal with that at the time, and yourself and your involvement with the sponsors in trying to kind of keep that money in the club?
Yeah. Well, it was like incredibly difficult. Everyone were going through
I can imagine.
Uncertainty. It wasn't just us. It was like obviously like with the numbers of deaths and everyone watching the telly at 5 o'clock, and you just like going, obviously it almost becomes irrelevant. The game and the sport and everything stopped, and you just hoping that everyone's okay. So we did a load of welfare calls and phone people, and
you did, yeah.
We got stuck into that and just checking in people, and there was stories about people. I know Ash Marshall from the ticket office took some stuff, some supplies around to a season ticket holder, a member who couldn't. I don't know what they'd have done, to be honest, but anyway, it was stuff like that, and it was really heartwarming stuff. And then it was probably about 2 or 3 months into it, and like me and Gary were like spending a lot of time like talking about it and involving everyone else, and Sean and Phil Daly and Matt Adams, and everyone sits down, and then all of a sudden you realise that this is a 3-year issue. We'll start playing again in September, and everyone will be all right, and here we go again for next year and stuff like that. So once you got the enormity of it, you realise, look, this is probably a 2-3 million quid problem for us.
Wow.
We get our heads around that, and then we start to plot through it. And Gary's brilliant at plotting through stuff like that, absolutely brilliant. And he's a detail man, and he loves like doodling it and going through it. And he was great. And it was donate your money, spread it over 3 years, or you can have a refund. We're not gonna, you haven't had what you thought you'd bought, so you can have your money back type thing. So, and it was nearly 60% donated back.
Wow,
really, that high?
Yeah. And then we'd got the the events that we did, the lunches that we did.
Yeah, they were brilliant. Yeah,
for all those people. And then what that did, again, we were just chatting and said, look, this is more of a club thing. Because we were thinking, well, what can we say? Well, me talking to Jamie Jones, talking to JP, talking to a couple of the players, that's all right. But hey, it's not, it's not giving you some extra, something that you might not know. So, involving James and Sai, from the PDRL, the LDR, the wheelchair, the netball,
yeah,
and then the women's. So we had someone from each of those, as you know, and talked, and what it did do, it brought the club closer together. It really did. And like we were like doing them events, and I'm like sat there. I'd never spent much time with Cy Brown. I really am. And like you hear his story, and you go, wow. And the pride he's got about representing the PDRL, and you go, that is like mind blowing. And like changing lives through sport is our foundation's strapline, if you like. But he'd say, and James Simpson would say, that it certainly changed their lives for sure. They wouldn't know where they would be if it weren't for the Leeds Rhinos. And it's powerful stuff, and it's true. And it was us, and they're Leeds lads, and the great lads, and they ain't got a chip on the shoulder. They've just been through some horrific times and are just proud to be involved with the club. It was just so heartwarming. So that was as we were coming out of it. So it brought the club closer together, and then we're just getting back. And like we had a meeting yesterday, and we were saying that these last 2 home games have been exactly what we envisaged when we did this full stadium redevelopment. Because if you think about it, we hadn't had any normal years. 2017 we knocked it down in August, so that was almost a normal year. We then had the development was going on. Everyone's shoehorned into different places, and it's difficult. And we've got a bus shelter for a main stand with a pond underneath it. So it's like, and then we have COVID just after we open up, and it still smells new, the building, and it's like
looks new.
We're getting used to it, and customers who come and look at it and experience it, they're just blown away by the facilities. The south stand's lovely. We've not one bad seat in it. The global stand, that's fairly recent, and it's lovely with the cafe bar and everything. And then the north stand's just, I think it's like, with what space we had in terms of boxed in by the boundary line on one side and the touchline on the other, it's an architectural genius who did that. Absolute Mike Masterton did it. It was absolutely brilliant, and it's a stadium everyone can be proud of, and that's the point about Paul, Gary, and myself, and the rest of the board and our team. It's like, look, this is for the people type thing. That might sound corny, but it's not. Every decision you make is like, let's make the club better, let's make it more accessible, let's make the team better, let's make the facilities better, let's make it something that the whole city can be proud of, and that's the path we're now on. And it's taken a while, and the accounts, I don't know if you saw the results, come out, and we lost, I think thick end of £1 million, and you go, wow. But we're in really, really good shape. We are. So like, that ain't to scare anyone. It's just that's how it is, and we're fine. And Paul Caddick, plays a big part in that.
So taking on the things you said then, Rob, we talked on this podcast about at the moment how the club at the moment on all sides feels quite close, and all quite, and obviously all quite successful. Obviously, the wheelchair team winning a Challenge Cup this year, the women in a really good, strong competition, which is really exciting to see. Obviously, the men have turned it around, obviously, since Rowan's come around, obviously, the PDRL team. We got asked a question, who would be your coach of the year out of those coaches? And it was almost like choosing your favourite child. Everyone's been so successful. Yeah. From your point, from a commercial aspect, how much do those other teams, obviously the men's is the main revenue, it's the history, it's the bigger side, but how do the other teams factor into that from in your role?
So when we present to new companies, we've got a presentation called One Team Rhinos, and we've got a picture that's, I'll share it actually with you. We'll get it up and we'll get it on Twitter. We've got a picture of everyone, so Cruz Lehman, and then all the other captains stood there, netball, girls, wheelchair, PDRL, and they're all there. Mitch from the learning disability, absolutely sensational. We had a photo shoot when we had the first partnership we had that hit everybody was Puma. So Puma came and said, look, we want to get involved. Brilliant. And I said, well, let's do it all. So it's everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody has got the option. It's not compulsory, but they've got the option. If you want some free boots or free trainers, you got this. So the netballs are into it and everyone's into it. So that was the reason why we get that picture together. But that forms part of our promotion of the club. Exactly what you said, Rob. It's like, it is one team and it is Team Rhinos. And that's that, the group of captains and the group of teams. But I'd like to think that it's wider than that. We have sponsors who are with us and they say, I never thought I'd feel part of a family that's a sports club, but I feel part of it. And that's what we try and do. We try and make people, we fuss around folk and make them feel, proud to be associated and enjoy it and feel part of it. And I say a lot, I wait on, whenever they wheel me out on the pitch, don't they? I always say, you feel part of it because you are. It's like you're a big part of this, and everyone here is. And that's how it should be, innit?
Absolutely.
And with the women's game at the moment, obviously, we've heard a couple of stories with the double headers that have taken place, like for at 5 p.m. on a Thursday for them. They've had to take annual leave. I think Courtney Winford Hill had to miss a game because she couldn't get leave from work. How close, as a club or as a league, are we getting to when the women get paid?
Yeah, it's on an agenda. It's on an to sort. I mean, what you can't have is two teams going professional and then leaving the rest behind. It needs to be a seismic shift, and everyone be committed to it, and ultimately stuff like that will come down to money. Do we think it should happen? We'd love it to happen. Yeah, we'd love it to happen, but it needs to be a game wide, decision rather than just us doing it or just Saints doing it. So,
touching on the stadium there, one thing that you'll know this as well, Rob, but one thing that away fans always complain about is the West Stand. I like the West Stand because I think that looking around the stadium, you get like the old history of the West with the new in the rest of it. Is there anything the club can do with the West Stand? Are we interested in doing anything with it?
Yeah. We've had plans drawn up. Paul Caddick's always one for like investigating and looking, and he's great. That's his construction. He loves it, and he's involved with things like that. The running of it. No, he's not involved. But like big construction, building it. Why wouldn't you ask him? He's got one of the most successful, construction companies in the world. So the difficulty with the West Stand is there's the ginnel at the back that takes the stand down. So potentially buy them houses, reroute the ginnel through the gardens, and then straighten up the terrace, and then put a lid on. Well,
that doesn't sound cheap, Rob.
I was just going to put that. So I think if you did all that, it'd probably think £5 million. So and the difference.
I mean, I don't mind it. If it rains, they get wet. That's their own fault.
I like it.
Yeah.
I said the difference is it's either £5 million and not much extra commercial revenue. We might have a lip on the stand to sell, but how much could you get for that? But everything else, there's no bars, there's no extra rooms, there's no extra facilities because they all feed off the western terrace of the cricket, where there are nice bars, nice toilets, and everything else. So, whilst they're not hard done to, in terms of facilities, they might just get wet if it rains. So currently, it's in the too difficult to solve tray for the money. And do I think that'll happen anytime soon?
No.
Probably not. Certainly not whilst we're trading our way. If we get flying and the IMG thing comes off and they start to generate extra revenue, then who knows where that might go. But certainly at the current climate, we would not be looking to do that in the next couple of 3 years, I would have thought.
You mentioned IMG there, Rob. What are you expecting IMG to come in and kind of do with the game?
I think it's exciting.
Me too.
I don't want any gimmicks or anything like that, and I don't think that'll happen. We get asked all the time about our success at Leeds and what have we done, and we've always partnered with experts. I touched on Oxen. They're experts in retail and in manufacturing, training and kit. So why wouldn't you partner with them? I don't go to bed worrying about what a training tee's fabric's going to breathe like on Matt Pryor. I don't. They do. So partner with someone who goes to bed thinking about it. IMG are the best. They're the best. They're the best in the world. They've got the reputation. So right partner, brilliant. And we're really receptive. There's a load of work going on behind the scenes, and I can't wait. Let's hope that they absolutely knock it out of the park. And it's branded. I've just been watching the 100 when I got in. Northern Superchargers got beat again, didn't they? But which is a shame. But that look and feel of that game, you go, we've got more than that. And let's badge it up. Let's make it look right. Let's get some big partners involved with us. And obviously, with a new Sky TV deal looming, that's on their agenda too. So, and they're experts at that. So, that they could have some big say pretty quickly.
You mentioned Sky TV there. Obviously, we've had Channel 4 this year, which has been brilliant coverage. I think their coverage for the first game of the season was at 640,000 viewers, something like that, which was fantastic for the game. Are we expecting, or I mean, I'm personally hoping they pick up more games because some of our games should have been some of the games we've played recently that haven't been on telly have been criminal not to be on, and there's been some other criminal games that have not been on. Obviously, particularly thinking our game against Catalan. Obviously, no, that's in French. But do you know whether there is interest in Channel 4 taking more? Are we expecting a bit more split? Are we expecting Sky to take a bit more coverage? Because at the moment, it tends to be 2 to 3 games a week.
Yeah. I don't know, Rob. I really don't know. And I don't know where they're at and when they start deciding. It did seem strange that there were some blank weekends of sport almost. Which, I think was a missed opportunity, certainly by Sky. I think their coverage has been better, Sky. I like the Channel 4 stuff. Only thing I'd say with Channel 4 is it just needs to be a bit more regular because you almost lose track of when it was on. So they had a game Sunday, didn't they? And if I won as good as I am, I wouldn't have known, And a load of my mates didn't know, well, what's that? And that, we had it on in all the rooms and stuff because it's there, and I like it. Helen Skelton and everyone else who do it. I think they do it. It's slightly different into how they approach it, and it was 750,000 for our first game in terms of viewing.
Right?
Wow.
Which super high,
massive numbers.
The knock-on effect for that for us is when we're talking to sponsors and partners, and that's all about eyeballs, and we have what's called a Nielsen report showing the value of marks on the shirt, and that's what we sell off, and you go, that makes a huge difference. So we if we were saying commercially, what would we like? More regular Channel 4 and Sky, more regular, even more TV the better from our point of view. We're the most televised club, and then going forward you get 2 broadcast partners who want more of the piece of the cake, and that's how you can drive a different looking deal.
Definitely.
On to matters on the field this year. We've had obviously Richard Agar left the club and Rowan Smith came in. First question, Rob, where did Gary Everington find Rowan Smith?
So he was known, I guess the pool of people who were out there, is known. Not that well known to many people. I hadn't heard of him.
Me neither.
I spoke to Richard Mathers and Chev Walker when we got linked to him. I don't know whether you saw that tweet. We got linked to him in some Australian press way before Gary went across, and Richard Mathers retweeted it. The tweet saying, "Get him, Rhinos.
Go get him." Yeah, he did. Yeah,
it'll make a massive difference. And Rich, he talks about with some pals of ours, and so I was saying, he's unbelievable. He's and Chev were the same. So Rich and Chev have got no hidden agenda. They're just 2 honest lads who came across him at Bradford and said that he revolutionised it. So really exciting appointment, and as soon as we got him, hungry coach at that age, you think he's perfect for us. And then England didn't new to him either. He was with the London Broncos for a bit. He lived in. His dad were at Bradford. Uncle Tony here a lot, so he gets it. He gets it over. So yeah.
Is he as cool? Because in his presses and after the games, he's a really cool character. Rob, is this a persona, or is Rowan? Is that Rowan? Is he really that cool and calm behind the scenes?
Yeah, he is. He really.
Does he smile? Because we've only seen him smile
more
once, I think, when Muzz scored that try against Wigan.
Wigan.
I'm assuming he smiled when his wife and kids came up, because I think I saw him holding his kid in the behind-the-scenes video.
Oh,
so I'm assuming that was his kid. But yeah, have you seen him smile more than that Muzz try?
Yeah, loads. Yeah, he smiles.
Right, okay.
And then he's smiling this afternoon as well. He's a top bloke, a top lovely bloke who's he loves rugby league. He understands the enormity of what he was coming to. He gets it. He quickly has come to grips with, right, what do we need? What will it take? And he's just a very, very articulate, clever, rugby thinking man. He's perfect. He's absolutely perfect. I'd potentially go to bed worrying about our team, and like I'm sure like a load of fans do at times. You'd worry, what we do, what was this?
All the time.
Don't worry. Honestly, he's absolutely perfect for us. And
it's funny you do say that, because like we talk about the transfer rumours on here and stuff. We talk about team changes, selections, and stuff, and everyone just keeps coming back to the same point of going, doesn't matter, because we trust Rowan Smith now. Like he's quite quickly managed to turn it around to that point where we have obviously fans coming here and they say they'll have an opinion, but at the end of that opinion, let's go, but we trust Rowan, and he's done quite a remarkable job in 12 games to turn that mindset around, because it was a difficult place, obviously early in the season with the expectations that we had.
Absolutely, no, completely agree, and coming all this way on his own, leaving his young family who were like going to come a bit later, and they're here now, and everything's, they're all nicely settled. But like he was here for 8-9 weeks on his own, so a big thing, a big thing, and it's a huge job, isn't it? If we're, we'd say we're one of the biggest, 5 or 6 clubs in the world. Fans would talk like that, certainly, and rightly so. And therefore, it's a huge challenge, but it's a brilliant opportunity for him. And he's great. He's really just a top fella, and he does smile more than you've seen. I'm in a fortunate position. I see a bit behind the scenes. When you see the players as happy as they are, that's the measure. And they are so together, so happy. Love it, love him, love what he's doing, love how he's coaching them. Just really good. Like they have a great week, and like when they say a good week, it isn't just like this morning for the team when it was like Monday were good. They did something together. Monday they did. Tuesday were great, day off, and then it's like it builds, and like he's a great guy and a great club guy, and instantly gets us.
Yeah, and I think Reece is right. I think we're all, as Leeds fans, we've all already, and even in the short period of time, we've all just bought into him. Everyone's just like, we're all, in Rowan we trust already so quickly. For him to kind of put his spin on things, it's really interesting from a fan's perspective, because this isn't Rowan's squad yet, and it's still the things that he's doing with this team. It is unbelievable. I know you can't give away too much, but in terms of the signings for next year, should we be excited about who the club are linked with? And
it's always exciting, isn't it? Whoever we sign, get excited. Just on that, when you said that, Eddie, about how it's not Rowan's squad, he wouldn't say that.
No, he wouldn't say that. No way.
He would never say that. He is abundantly clear. This is our squad. This is our squad, and these are the players that are here, and this is what will drive our success. On Friday and next week and the week after that. So this is our squad. It's not Richards or it's not Rowan's. It's our squad, and it's here and it's now, and that's what's going on. In terms of signings, you see all the names that have been mentioned. I just get excited about whoever we're linked with, isn't it? It's nice to be linked to people. And Rowan is constantly looking to improve the squad. So yeah. Exciting.
Speaking of the squad, Rob, it's been announced this week, over the past 7-10 days, 2 absolute champion players are leaving us in Tom Briscoe and Liam Sutcliffe. That's 2 brilliant, as I say, champion blokes there. Any words on those 2 as they leave the club?
They go with our best. They're always welcome back to the club. They'll get a fan. It shows when a player comes back and gets a really good reception.
Like Callum on Sunday, yeah.
Like Callum on Sunday, like almost like a lap of honour, and deserved it. And they will both get a very, very, very good reception whenever they come back to Edinburgh, and they'll always be welcome. They've been part of some hugely successful days with us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great blokes. I like them both, and it'd be sad to say goodbye to them.
So when you're watching a game, Rob, obviously you've got your commercial director hat, then you've also got the fan in you this season.
I've seen Rob in away in more than corporate box.
Which hat do you wear? Do you find it hard to switch between hats, or as soon as you're in that stand, is it your job's kind of out the window at that point? It's been a fan.
Terrible. I'm terrible, honestly. I need to calm down. I'm like,
it's fine.
We have seen a video of the Catalan away, the dressing room at Catalan, which I thoroughly enjoyed, by the way.
Imagine the flight home, Reese.
Yeah.
But just on that though, that came about purely because of Rowan. So we flew in out in the day. There was me and 7 sponsors. As Aidan jinked through and scores, almost before he'd put ball down, he's come up. I'm getting emailed about our kit. He's texted me as Rowan and said, "Get the sponsors into the sheds for the team song." So, and you've been at Catalan, so like that stand there, you're high up, so you can't get down to the pitch and then go down the tunnel. So I'm like, he's looking up at me. I'm going, how do I get there? So he went, come round the back. So I said, I get everyone, and we all peg it round back. And Rowan Smith comes out of a fire door and goes, in here. And we all pile in, and then that's the video that you see. But like, and we'd had a pint and a half of lager all day and a lovely lunch. So we hadn't had anything to drink. I was driving when I got back to the Leeds Bradford airport. So it was just like, it's one of them days that, again, I'm 51 and you go, I'll never ever forget that. No. With Dono screaming that song. Just loved it. Absolutely loved it. And it was such a good win when it looked like for 65 minutes there was no chance we were going to even.
You had the benefit of being there. We had, obviously, unfortunately, the YouTube stream wasn't great that day, so I actually ended up on Twitter. I was literally scrolling Twitter like that and going, "There's another one. There's another one." I'm like, cry. And we were trying to debate on the podcast after, go, what was worse, like not being able to watch it or watching it in that scenario?
100% not. 100% not. Yeah, sure, but yeah. I mean, priceless. So yeah, I am just a fan, and. Where I sit in the corporate, so ACS Dave Flannery and ACS sit in front of me, and like his dad Michael has told me like, "Hey, just calm down, Rob.
Calm down, Rob."
They look like they've got like 12 tickets, 12 seats near me, so it's like, yeah, I do need to calm down. I often end up apologising, but it's only because, as I say, it's only because I care.
Yeah, right. You are a fan. What's your best? I think. Some people have asked this, have sent it in to us. What's your favourite away ground, Rob? What's your favourite away end?
I used to love going to Bradford. Love it. When we were full, I used to love it because it were a natural amphitheatre, wasn't it? And it's like, I just loved it. And I used to like going to Knowsley Road, the old one.
The old one, yeah.
The old one. Current away grounds, newer grounds, Wigan and Warrington, I like. I like going there. I like going, and we've had a bit of success, haven't we, at Warrington? And I, just got like some really happy memories of Wigan, like some really happy, like that just stand out.
It's a shame to see Odsal where it is now. It is now as well. We saw some photos from Andrew Foster on Sunday, and how busy that place used to be. And I miss having them in the league massively. Leeds, Bradford. We always have derbies with Cass and other people, but it's never the same as Bradford.
No, and you're right, Reece. That's what sport is, isn't it? It's about rivalries and and drama. And knock us off the perch, and how many times they come to Headingley and pack that ending, and you think, wow, we're in for it tonight. And like I remember once Vinacola absolutely destroyed us, and they beat us well, and you go, fair play to them. They're like a proper side, weren't they, with massive support. And yeah, it's a shame where they're at, but yeah, that's sadly no, we can help with them.
So speaking about about you being a fan, we had a bit of a couple of polls about which was the best comeback in history, and the Catalan game actually won that vote. And we also had a bit of a vote about what was the more important game, the Wigan, or what result impressed you most, the Wigan result or the Catalan result. I think for me, the Salford result of the weekend actually impressed me even more, because whilst the Wigan was a complete win and the Catalan was the comeback, Salford were fantastic on that day, and we were really under pressure for a lot of it. And that we didn't really. Yeah. I don't really remember having the ball for about 20 minutes, to be honest. I seem to remember being on our line. What's impressed you most this season? What's been your favourite moments of the season so far?
Yeah, I thought Jamie Jones did a great job in terms of galvanising us, and there were a couple of wins under his tutelage, that Toulouse at home that night, that was like so important at the time. And then Rowan comes and you start looking and go, I love Warrington away just because that was almost like the first time where we'd got Cruz and Zach and everyone running around, and you went, it were like red arrows. It was like watching something very, very different to what we'd seen. And they're not great, and they weren't great that night, but we absolutely tore them to shreds. And that Richie Myler little flick to Zach, and then that
was awesome.
It's just like, you just go, this is stuff that they're practicing, and we hadn't even seen anyone try it before. You don't see it often. So for me, it was like almost like the manner in which we won. But like you could say, I like Wigan at home. That home games are like, big for us because we've got 1,400 corporates in there, and what we do straight away after the final whistle, fish out. So the man of the match has some duties. So I then pick two others. So I get to pick two. And I just pick like whoever it is, and they come up straight away in kit into the room. There's 400 people in there, all full of San Miguel, and everyone's in high spirits. But before that game, me and JP were talking about how it's going to be difficult. They're a top side. We're down on numbers, and we've got to get start well. And the talk was this could be a tight game, but we are up against it type things. So to come out and when Harry smashes Jai Field in that first set, and you go, right, that's exactly it. This is the tone. The tone has been
those nights.
It never stopped, did it? Bibby was like fumbling around and then got clattered into touch out on the 20-meter line, like on the side, and it was like, you just go, that's perfect. I love seeing it. And we were scrabbling around at the end and keeping him out. You go, that was super impressive to me, really was. And like, we hadn't had a full strength side, have we? That's the other thing about what's exciting, Cruzy and and everyone else, and out of that you see Jared O'Connor developing the player he is, and you go, he's been outstanding, hasn't he? Outstanding.
In a position that's new to him as well.
Yeah,
there is another player that's obviously caught our eye, particularly on the podcast in the last sort of games, to the extent that we even ended up creating the Cam Smith Appreciation Society. The back of it, I don't know if you've actually seen that.
I want a badge, and I'll give one to Cammy as well.
Yeah, well, actually, fair enough. My next question on my list was, will you have one, and will you give one to Cam? So I hope Cam knows about it as well.
Ash Hanley wants one.
Ash Hanley retweeted.
Get one for Ash and Cam. We'll get them all. We'll get every member of the squad should have one on.
I think we should.
He's been great, hasn't he?
Yeah,
brilliant. So underappreciated though. It's criminal and very rarely spoken about. I don't know why. I mean, especially since Rowan came in, he's just stood out an absolute mile.
Absolutely, and absolutely. He was best kid, most talented kid I've ever seen. I watched him as a 14-year-old playing in a cup final at Oulton, and he played standoff, chipped over, regathered, sidestep fullback, goes to post to win it. And he was something else. He was like, honestly. So it's no surprise that he can play like he can play, because he could always play.
Yeah,
it was just a bit more belief with him, and he's fit, he's great, he's defensively he's great, he's a top guy, and like, we got a group of players now who care. That's the other thing about Cam and Ash and Mick and Jared. They care about the club, and they care about Leeds Rhinos, and they want to be part of it. And that's a change that we've had as well. So, which is really, really encouraging, isn't it?
Can he dance as well as Mick?
I don't think so. He might.
Can anyone?
Yeah, Mick. So, quite cool, isn't it?
Yeah. Like an Adonis, just blonde hair in his body. How well do you think we could do this year then, Rob?
We'll win it.
Welcome to the Lot Pod. It's like you're a regular.
We'll win it, yeah. I don't think many people want to play us. I'm always super confident. You go, well, you'd end up going to probably Huddersfield or Catalan away.
Yeah.
It'd be just our luck to go to France again, wouldn't it?
Again.
That'd be 4 times in less than 50 days.
It's not a bad job, Rob.
No, exactly. Yeah. But yeah,
we will sponsor you. I'm not sure we can give you much, but we can be one of your sponsors if you really want.
Have a badge.
And you'd end up, if you're 6, you probably end up going to Saints, wouldn't you? So, well, but again, he's 5th out of the reckoning. But again, like Rowan says, let's not get too far ahead, and let's just hope we finish strong. We've got some difficult games, haven't we? Warrington. I'm glad Aidan and Reese and Matty Pryor's all back for next week, aren't they? So that
I suppose I'm not sure if you can comment on it, but I don't know if you've seen on social media the last 24 hours, but there has been quite a lot on the ban for Reese Martin, which seemed particularly soft. Have you any thoughts on that one in particular? Because obviously, I know we've been done for frivolous appeals in the past, and and obviously, luckily, great, we've got Caesars down from 2 to 1. I just don't get the Reese Martin one. But was there any thought of any appeal about that one, or because it's a shame to lose a guy that's
he's been awesome as well this year,
who's been the player of this, argued the player of the season.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who knows me knows my views on those bans. But Reese did it. And it was to argue that he didn't do it or it wasn't that hard is difficult. So and he did it, and he shouldn't have done it because he don't need to do it. So whilst I completely agree with you, Reese, just don't do that. But it was harsh, super harsh. I mean, even ref says, doesn't it? That's fine.
That's fine, yeah.
That's fine. I mean, I thought David Foster too was pretty unlucky. I mean, he's slightly mistimed, but
yeah.
Would you class that as a dangerous tackle? Yeah, I did the end slightly bumping heads a bit, but anyway.
I mean, I'm all for player safety, and I think the rules are in place for a reason. Obviously we've got Stevie Ward, and obviously is a prime example of that. So the rules are there in for a place, and I don't want to compromise player safety over entertainment because that's the thing. But there's sometimes the consistency in the decisions I suppose is what frustrates us. But especially when we lose 3 great players, I found was probably feeling a bit salty because we've lost 3 great players going into
form as well.
Into a 4-point playoff game again.
100%, completely agree, Reece. Yeah.
So just to kind of wrap things up, we'll just fire some quick fire questions at you if we can, Rob. Who's if you can, I know it's a difficult decision. It's not for me, but who's your favourite ever Leeds player or top 3?
Top 3 is easy. JP, Kev and Danny.
In that order?
In no particular order, because I'm going out with Jamie Peacock and Danny soon.
Danny Maguire.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him where, because Eddie's got a bit of a love obsession with a certain member of that top 3.
They're just great blokes. And all that golden generation, you could list 10 more who were all absolutely diamond blokes. But yeah, them 3.
Your favourite ever Leeds coach?
Wow. The one who really made an impression on me was Graham Murray.
Yeah.
Loved him. And just a diamond of a bloke. But Brian McDermott would be my favourite ever Leeds coach. Our most successful ever Leeds coach. A bit misunderstood at times. But again, just a great bloke. Still is a great bloke. Doing a great job at Fev. Friend of the club's. Always, I'm badgering him all the time. I said, come back and why? He goes, you know what I'm like? And I went, just come back and have a meal and just come to a game. we want to see you. Because what you've done for us and what he did for us he was brilliant. He really was. And let's
favorite ever Leeds kit.
So I like traditional kit. So 1985 we beat Auckland. Scoey's debut. Scoey's that trick in that white with the band. Nice,
the band and the collar.
Nice kit. With Youngers on it, but more recently the versions of that 2017 Grand Final shirt, really like that shirt. Really like that shirt.
That's similar to it.
But I do like 2014 Cup Final shirt as well, because that's traditional repeated. I like that. I did. But next year's 2023 shirt, wow, you want to see that?
Can we see it?
Can we expect a 20% discount at 6 a.m., Rob?
Emails were coming through then when I went off, and like some of it's someone I'm thinking, that's the wrong thing.
Who's been either current or ex the funniest Leeds player that you've come across?
Rob Burrow was funny.
Yeah.
Always mucking about. Always. He never shut up. He just shut up. Just like, the proverbial little dog around your feet, just like constantly. But like people just giggled and laughed at him, and that chemistry between him and Kevin and Danny and him and JP and them, and then the white group round that, it just worked. It was lovely to see, and whenever you were a part of it, it was almost like a privilege to be part of it, because again, just some of you with it, and it was funny. It was funny.
And the biggest drinker, I'm pretty sure you've been on some big nights out with some, especially people like Jamie Peacock. Who's the biggest drinker, ex-Leeds or current?
So Roy Dickinson.
Yeah,
he was there on Sunday. So I'm like, my hero, Dave Ward, Dave Aaron, Graham Eccles, Roy Dickinson, Alan Smith, they were all there Sunday in Howard Suite. I'm going to tell you, because we're presenting Peter Banner, who I didn't know. I knew of him. I can't remember seeing him play. They're presenting his heritage shirt.
His heritage number.
On the pitch at half time. So they were all there, which were great to see. So Roy can certainly, you won't want to get in a competition with Roy or Sam McDonald. but currently Danny and JP, like
really them two. You're going out with them.
they're like more like this might sound disparaging, but like normal Leeds people like me. Kev's a bit different. Kev was always squeaky clean, never drank.
Yeah.
Still is to some regard. You know what I mean? He's not he's boring, he's funny, he's Kev. He's very he has got like a witty sense of humour. And he's great company to be around. So he's different. But would he come out on the smash on Saturday with me? No, probably not.
No way.
JP would.
And then last one from me, the most skillful player you think you've ever seen at Leeds?
Hey, probably. It was funny actually. We used to play touch and pass with Tony Smith, who brought in the staff when they weren't playing afternoon before a game, play T&P, and Rowan's brought in today, so we've been playing today. So like some of the members of staff, just staff it, and people from Edinley like me don't meet everyone, and they see me for 2 seconds walking past them. You meet people, so the S&C of the women's team, Millie was there today, and I don't know Millie. So I meet Millie, and we played, and it was like, about 150 degrees, wasn't it? So it wasn't the most fluent of games. But back in the day when Tony did it, Ali Lawatiti were coming back from...
what a player, yeah.
And he played, and you just come, how on earth anyone stopped him at any point? Never mind at top touch and pass. You never seen out like it, hands like it, feet like it. He had size 15 feet.
15?
Like the ball were it was just like a,
like a little peanut, wasn't it? Yeah, just flicked it here, flicked it there.
It was just like a tennis in his hand, and he's like, and he was something else. In
was
terms
Barry
of
allowed
that
to play
kind
TMP?
Of, he did.
Or was
Barry
too aggressive for it?
Baz will tell you, Baz did his Achilles doing it.
Really?
He retired and he was working for us in commercial department, and he popped his Achilles. He did.
No way.
He did. He just took a settler in and busted his Achilles. Yeah.
Oh.
But then just
I'll have to get him back on, because he's done anything worse, so I'll have to get him back on to ask.
Just on that Achilles thing, the skillful thing. Danny Maguire is just those tries that Phil Daly put on earlier, and you go, and Phil had put some about too many to pick, but look at these. What would say about Danny is that he delivered in massive games. You look at that clips
all the time.
and you go, wow. So 2004, 2005 World Club, 2014 Challenge Cup, that semi-final back in 2003 that won it in extra time against Saints.
Yeah.
What a dramatic comeback, by the way, if you're adding that to your comebacks.
Yeah.
But yeah, them two.
Cool. We've got some other questions in as well from the listeners as well. Laurie is asked, what's the funniest thing you've ever seen at a rugby match?
You don't often see much funny stuff, do you? One of the not a strange thing. We played Warrington in the semi-final 2014 at St Helens. And I don't know if you remember it, but Tom Briscoe scored an absolute beauty coming towards the Leeds fans in the first half, and he jinked inside, cut back inside, and he's run to sticks. Brilliant try.
Yeah.
Like at a crucial point in the game. So whenever we score, I always want to run. Some people will see me, but like I nearly got thrown out at Warrington for running. I'm like, what are you going to throw me out for celebrating? Anyway, and that's why I should calm down. But like, and I went running down to the front. So I'm stood behind the sticks and everyone's piled on Tommy. And I'm like, yeah. And Ryan Hall comes round and he's like round the back of the thing and looks and he goes, all right, Rob. He goes, up like that and gives me a thumbs up. So I'm like, so I went, did you see that? Like, so telling my daughters and everyone else who stood with us, I says, did you see that? I says, Ryan Hall, give me a thumbs up. Anyway, Monday morning we're in office. I said to Phil, I went, there's, did you see a great game? Tell him what had happened. He goes, I've got that picture. So without me in shot, there's just Ollie going like that, with all these people piling on behind. I've got it on my phone. It's a beauty. So there's only me and Ryan knew what that meant in the world.
What it meant, yeah. Special moment.
Brilliant. Laurie also asked what's your go-to Greg's order. Obviously not rugby related at all, but are you a Greg's man?
Yeah, I love Greg's. Yeah. Chicken pasty, 3 sausage rolls, and a ham and cheese baguette, salt and vinegar crisps, pint of water.
Solid order.
That's a feast, is that?
£2.40.
Brilliant. Neil Scarlett asks, which Leeds player's departure made you cry the most or upset you the most?
Danny Maguire.
He'll cry all the time together, tell him. We're always crying. Gaz Ellis was just sad because he was the best back rower in the world when we kind of like knew he was going to go, and like a real favourite of mine. I love Gaz. When Kev, JP and Kylie left, and then Kev was announced before that he was going to rugby union.
Yeah.
That completely like took the wind out of my sails. I was like, I didn't see that coming. And whilst I at that time was commercial director for Yorkshire Carnegie too, who Kev was going to play for, it just felt different and strange, and that really was hard. And then when Danny and Rob packed in 17, and Danny then comes back in 18 and murdered us for all
completely murdered us, yeah.
You think, well, surely this shouldn't be happening. And like as a mate, he's like, as he walked off, he just shrugged his shoulders and just went. And like almost like, I think it was an apology. I've never checked, but it's almost like that's what Danny's like, isn't it? He's like, but I had to do it type thing, and yeah, fair play to him. But them two, yeah, when Danny and Rob and how well they played in that 17, certainly Danny.
Damien asks, who's your favourite player pre-Super League era?
So when I was younger, my all-time hero was Mick Harrison. Was my player, who was a tough tackling prop from Hull, and yeah, absolutely just idolised him. And we sold him to Hull in 1981, maybe end of 80 season. So I was 9, and I just cried my eyes out. I just couldn't get my head around how Mick had been sold and why we'd sold him. And then Ellery, when Ellery was at Wigan, just like almost in awe of like what a great player he was. And then we signed him for a massive fee, and we saw him for 2 years. What an absolute! He was the greatest ever player. I don't care what. he was the greatest all-round ever player for sure, and we got the back end of him, but he was like sensational, and still now when you see him and talk to him, he looks like he could play now.
He does. He ain't aged a day.
He's amazing. He's just amazing. What a great bloke.
And the last question is actually from me. Unsung hero at the club. Who's the most unsung hero?
Wow. Whew. You know what I'm going to say there?
You can't say Ryan because we've got Ryan Golding on next week. So
The ground.
Yeah. I'm going to say Gary and Paul Caddick. Because, again, you talk about going to bed and not worrying about your club, of how it's run. And you talk about
fans, yeah.
And we've talked about Bradford a little bit, a tiny bit. And look what happened to them because it got in the wrong hands and people ran it poorly. So with Gary and Paul have done an amazing job since 1996. At that time, there was a whole load of uncertainty around the club about, you know, where Yorkshire were going and what were going to happen to us, and we were £4 million in debt and and you go, just yeah. And I don't think they get enough credit, and at times Gary gets too much stick. He's been absolutely sensational for us, for sure.
I've actually got one more. I've almost forgot. It's actually from Lee Jenkinson. I think this is an inside joke.
Is Jack watching this?
I think this is an inside joke. Question for Rob. Of the many talented staff you've worked with at Leeds in the last 10 years, who do you miss the most? From Lee Jenkinson. He'll crack up at that one.
Why is it Lee Jenkinson? Yeah. I do miss him. That's the beauty thing about being with Oxon, is that we still see Lee Jenkinson, who is an absolute diamond of a bloke. He really is. He changed our retail operation and now he's involved with that. So we get Lee again. So, yeah, it is Lee.
Rob, it's been absolutely brilliant to have you on. We really appreciate your time tonight.
Quite right. Have Toulouse taken the lead yet?
I hope so.
It's 2 minutes in, so I'll have a check. We'll have to get on it. I was not conscious of that because I wanted to watch that. Because I don't know if you do listen, but we have a weekly. We now have a weekly part of our podcast of the Darryl Parrell sack watch, and I need to watch it to see how.
Is he sacked yet?
I need to watch that because I'll rely on what we say next week.
Right, brilliant. Thanks for coming on, Rob. Thanks for your questions, Reece, and thanks everybody for watching and listening. Take care, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you ever so much. Thanks for having me.